Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Business and Utilities Subcommittee. Today is March the 3rd, 2021. It's 3:30 p.m. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Representatives Alexander. Present. Calfee. Present. Hazelwood. Here. Hodges. Here. Holsclaw. Johnson. Here. Manis. Here. Thompson. Here. Vaughn. Here. Zachary. Here. Chairman Boyd.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'd like to call this meeting of the Business and Utilities Subcommittee to order. A few administrative items. Item number 2, House Bill 780 by Leader Lamberth has been rolled 1 week. Item number 9, House Bill 24 by Representative Warner has been taken off notice. Before we get started today, do any of the members have any personal orders? If not, let's go ahead and get started. Item number 1, House Bill 605 by Leader Lamberth. Leader Lamberth, you recognized? We have a motion. We have a second. The bill is properly before us. Leader Lamberth, you recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill would help our realtors and brokers, specifically our brokers, be able to pay themselves in a way that in corporate entities right now would not incur additional tax burdens. So we're just shifting it to match what other states do so that a broker, if they're part of a corporate entity, can actually cut a check to themselves.
Question's been called. Is there any objection? If not, we're voting on House Bill 605. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it. House Bill 605 is on its way to full committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Next up is item number 3. That's House Bill 781, and it's being ran by Chairman Vaughn. Chairman Vaughn, you're recognized at your seat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What this bill...
we have a motion. We have a second. We are properly on the bill. Chairman Vaughn, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. This is an administration bill that's being brought forward to gain efficiencies by combining some programs within the Department of Commerce and Insurance. It's going to combine 3 programs: the private eye. I sound like I'm private detective. The Private Investigator Board, the Polygraph Commission, and the Alarm Systems Contractors Boards. It would change them away from being it would change them into a commissioner-run program, but he would be appointing an advisory council to help oversee that. And again, currently, all 3 of these programs share an executive director, and so this should be a smooth transition. It's just trying to streamline government.
Thank you for that explanation, sponsor. Do we have any questions? Questions have been called for. If there's no objection, we're voting to send House Bill 781 to full commerce. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it. 781 is on its way to commerce full. Next up is item number 4. That's House Bill 54 by Speaker Pro Tem Marsh. Okay. We will roll that to the hill of the calendar, and we'll move on to item number 5. That's House Bill 369 by Chairman Williams. And it looks like he is absent as well, so we will roll that to the hill of the calendar, and we'll keep moving, and we're on item number 6. That's House Bill 120 by Chairman Whitson. Chairman Whitson, you're recognized in the well. We have a motion, we have a second, and it looks like we have an amendment. Chairman Wilson, what's the drafting code on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. The drafting code is 1593.
Okay, that's what I'm showing as well. Do we have a motion and a second on the amendment? Okay, we are on the amendment, Chairman Whitson, for explanation.
And the amendment basically fixes an error that was in the original bill. It listed an organization that's involved in this incorrectly, and it does not rewrite the bill.
The question has been called on the amendment. If no objection, we're voting on amendment 1593. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The amendment passes. It is on the bill. We are back on the bill as amended. And Chairman Whitson, go ahead and give us an explanation, but I understand you have some folks today that would like to speak. Is that right?
Right, briefly, too,
okay.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Thank you, committee, and it's an honor to be here and present this legislation concerning domestic violence. House Bill 120 requires any person seeking a license as a cosmetologist, manicurist, esthetician, I think that's how you say it, natural hairstylist, or barber to successfully complete a free course on domestic violence awareness education as prescribed by the State Board of Cosmetology and Barber Examiners. This course will train these professionals to recognize potential domestic violence and how to share resources with clients they believe who are in need. Nearly half of all crimes in Tennessee are domestic violence related, and Tennessee ranks 9th in the nation for the rate of men killing women. I served as foreman of the Williamson County Grand Jury for many years, and I quickly discovered domestic violence does not discriminate and impacts individuals regardless of race, economic status, age, and education level. Most victims of domestic violence will not report their abuse to law enforcement, but are more likely to tell someone they trust or who they have a long-standing relationship, such as cosmetologists and barbers. Salon professionals see their clients on a regular and routine basis, even during this pandemic. Salon professionals who typically create special relationships with their clients and hear about their personal lives are in an ideal and unique position to identify physical signs of abuse like bruises and cuts and different behavior. This bill does not make salon professionals mandatory reporters and does not hold them civil or criminally liable for acting in good faith or failing to act on information learned from their clients. This bill has a 4-year implementation window for current license holders. In closing, I want to thank the YMCA Nashville and Middle Tennessee team, Michelle Johnson, and her folks who worked on this, and they're going to be here to testify with your permission, along with Suzanne Post, who helped bring this bill forward.
Thank you for that explanation, sponsor. We're going to go out of session, and we've got Suzanne Post and Michelle Mowry from the YMCA. If you ladies would like to come up, and just be sure to make sure your microphone is turned on and state your name for the record. And we are limited to 5 minutes of testimony. Go ahead.
Am I on? Okay, great. Hi, I'm Suzanne Post, and I'm a volunteer with the YWCA. I'm a volunteer with the YWCA here in Middle Tennessee, and I actually had the opportunity to meet with a lot of you in person last session before COVID hit. But just to give you a little bit of background for those that I did not have a chance to meet. I am a licensed cosmetologist here in the state of Tennessee. I've been doing hair for 27 years. I'm a salon owner, and I'm also a survivor, I should say, of domestic abuse. And I know intimately how isolating and how scary domestic abuse can be. And as a service provider, I know exactly what a unique position we are in as service providers to be the helper. In direct response to input that we received last session, over the last year, after we took a break with COVID, the YWCA teamed up with Barbicide, which is a leading manufacturer of disinfectant and safety products for our industry, and created a 25-minute virtual training that is of no cost to any service providers. And so we have the opportunity to reach people in rural pockets of our state that otherwise might have had a more difficult time getting to an in-person training, which we're really excited about. And even though the statistics here in Tennessee are pretty staggering, being 9th in the nation is not where we want to be as a state, I know that this education will have the opportunity to save lives. And I think that Tennessee can truly be on the forefront of just shifting where we are and actually making a difference for victims of abuse. So I appreciate your time, and I'm really grateful. And I would love to take any questions if anyone has any.
Let's go ahead. Would you like to testify
Sure.
as well? Go ahead, and then we'll take questions.
Okay, am I on? I'm Michelle Mowry Johnson, and I'm the Communications Director and Advocacy Director for the YWCA of Nashville and Middle Tennessee, and I've been with the organization for going on almost 8 years now. We operate the largest domestic violence shelter in the region. We take over 5,000 calls a year. 550 women and children come through our doors every year. We offer 19,000 nights of safety to women and children fleeing abuse. We also serve men through hoteling and other nonprofits in the area. So we do not discriminate on the clients that we see. Domestic violence is a huge problem in our state and in our nation as well. And as Suzanne said, I think Tennessee, and I think you all have the opportunity to do something really important here with this legislation. Education is key to stopping this problem. We we need to find a way to address it. We've gotten a lot of support from many of you last year. We know you have daughters that we met with and we talked about last year. And we're happy to bring this really good bill before you today. We worked very closely with the TBR to make sure the language is correct and that they are happy with it. We met with chancellors, vice chancellors, and TCAT presidents over the summer to make sure we were getting it right. We also worked closely with Commerce and Insurance. And so we think we're in a really good position to make some positive change in Tennessee and help bring those numbers down and help save women's lives and men as well. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
Ladies, thank you for that testimony. Members, do we have any questions for Suzanne or Michelle? Okay. Ladies, thank you so much for coming to testify and your passion for this and for your industry embracing this so much. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are back in session, and Chairman Whitson, you're recognized again on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Suzanne and Michelle, thank you so much. And I think this clearly demonstrates the power that citizens have in our community and our state to make a difference. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I renew my motion.
Thank you. Members, do we have any questions for the sponsor? If not, we are voting on House Bill 120 as amended. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it. The bill passes, and it's on its way to full commerce. Thank you, Chairman Woodson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Next up is item number 7. That's House Bill 177 by Representative Russell. Thank you. Representative Russell, you're recognized, and we have a motion. We have a second, and I do not see any amendments that are filed, so you are recognized on House Bill 177.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What House Bill 177 does is it's currently written, it authorizes property managers to bring suit or testify against tenants in the same manner as landlords or owners of rental property.
Thank you for that explanation, sponsor. Members, you've heard the explanation. Are there any questions for the sponsor? Question's been called. If there's no objection, we're voting on House Bill 177. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The bill passes. It's on its way to full commerce. Thank you, sponsor.
Thank you all.
Next up is item number 8, House Bill 947 by Representative Smith. We have a motion. We have a second. Representative Smith, you are recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee. This is House Bill 947, Drafting Code 3403. This is a local bill. It is a renewal of an annual bill. The Motor Vehicle Commission has to have an annual local bill passed. We have a road race that benefits a charity. In this case, it's a stroke prevention center affiliated with a local hospital. It's a road race as well as an auction. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll take questions, but we do know that this will raise about $500,000 for the Stroke Prevention Center.
Question's been called for. Is there any objection? If not, we're voting on House Bill 947. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the bill is on its way to full commerce. Thank you, sponsor.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee.
Next up is item number 10. That's House Bill 1140 by Representative Grills. We have a motion. We have a second. Representative Grills, you are recognized on your bill.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill will raise the compensation rate for the Reelfoot Lake Regional Utility Planning District. It has the compensation hasn't been adjusted since 1983. They make $1,000 a year, and we're just trying to raise it to $2,400 a year.
Thank you for that explanation, sponsor. Members, do we have any questions for the sponsor? Question's been called for. Is there any objection? If not, we are voting on House Bill 1140. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The bill passes. It's on its way to full commerce.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Committee.
Members, we are back to item number 4. That's House Bill 54 by Speaker Pro Tem Marsh. We have a motion. We have a second. Speaker Marsh, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do miss this committee. Been on it for many, many years, but didn't make the cut this year. I'm sorry. This bill comes to us from the Tennessee Underground Utility Damage Enforcement Board. The board is charged with examining data regarding underground utility damages and making recommendations to the General Assembly to update the law. This bill represents recommended changes to the law to improve safety, reduce damage to underground utilities, and achieve compliance with the federal rules and regulations. It has the support of all parties involved, all the utilities, the excavators, local governments, TN 811, the Gas Association, and the Public Utility Commission. And I think that we have Public Utility Commission here to speak on it if you all would like.
Thank you for the explanation, sponsor. And I actually talked to them yesterday and asked them to come to go in just a little bit more detail. So we're going to go out of session real quick. We're out of session, and we have Tim Schwartz and Bill Turner. If you guys would come up and just make sure your microphone is turned on and state your name for the record. And as usual, we're limited to 5 minutes of testimony.
Is that on? Okay. Yeah, my name's Tim Schwartz. I'm with the Public Utility Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. Just a little background information on the legislation and the board. This Damage Prevention Board was created about 5 years ago. It's been up and operational for about 4 years. It's attached to the Public Utility Commission. We provide administrative and investigative support to it. The board is charged with making recommendations to the legislature to find ways when it sees it, now that it's been running for about 4 years, how it can improve the act and improve public safety. We've also been audited by our federal agency, which is PHMSA, which is part of the U.S. Department of Transportation. They audit us annually, and we maintain the Gas Pipeline Safety Division, and they provide the federal funding for the safety inspections that we do. And they also supervise our damage prevention program and this board. When they do these audits, they've noticed that our civil penalties are not at the threshold that they want them to be. So they have asked us to increase our civil penalties not to exceed a certain amount. So that this bill, part of that provision, or one of the provisions, is to increase the maximum ceiling on civil penalties as it relates to underground damage as well as gas pipeline safety violations. That's probably the biggest thing in this bill. But it also tries to improve public safety. It's going to require, if a line is struck has flammable gas, something like that, then you are required to call 911, and that's a good safety measure improvement. We're also doing some clarifications as well. Some of the terms of the board members, we had to fix the staggering of those terms. So there's several other little provisions like that too. But I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Before we take questions, Bill, would you like to introduce yourself and
Yes, sir.
tell us a little bit about it?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Bill Turner. I'm president of Tennessee 811. You probably get a quarterly magazine called the Tennessee 811 Damage Prevention Magazine. That's from us, so I hope you have a chance to read that. It's got a lot of good information in it. As Tim shared, the Underground Enforcement Board is responsible for hearing violations, and part of our charge is to take the data that we've collected over the last 4 years and improve the legislation. And many of the things that are in this bill do that, things that we've learned over the last 4 years. One of the things that I'm most concerned with or interested in is the damage ticket. There's damages that happen across the state of Tennessee, but sometimes we don't have access to that information. So by changing that and requiring people to report damages to Tennessee 811, it allows us to compile that data, compare it against the compliance data that we have from the Enforcement Board, and hopefully correct it and make sure that people aren't damaging underground facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Bill. Members, do we have any questions for these gentlemen? If not, guys, we certainly appreciate y'all coming today, making yourself available. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
We will go back into session. Speaker Marsh, appreciate you carrying this bill. It's a good piece of legislation. The question has been called for. Do we have any objection? If not, we're voting on House Bill 54. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it, the bill passes. It's on its way to full commerce.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Next up, we have item number 5. That's House Bill 369 by Chairman Williams. Chairman Williams, you are recognized. We have a motion. We have a second. Chairman Williams, on your bill.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Chairman and members. House Bill 369 is not new to the Tennessee General Assembly. It may be new to a few of your members, but last year the House passed this bill. But as most of us realize, the Senate didn't do nearly as much work as we did. But this bill, as revised, would preserve the right of any individual to be able to pull a contractor's license in order to construct their own home. However, it does require that they sign an affidavit and register it with the Registrar of Deeds, saying that they did, in fact, build their own home. And then after that 4-year period, they can sign another affidavit or a waiver and have it removed, have that permit or affidavit form, and it's a form that I actually have a copy of it that I can provide to your offices, so that they can notify, so that potential buyers of that home know that it was actually constructed by someone else. That affidavit that they sign in order to pick up a building permit would make the homeowner aware of the local codes and requirements, as well as inspections that each municipality would have. This bill was brought to me by AGC of Tennessee and supported by the realtors as well as the banking industry. That description, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Members, you've heard. All right, we have the questions being called. Is there any objection? If not, we are voting on House Bill 369. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The bill passes, and House Bill 369 is on its way to full commerce. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman and members.
Members, that concludes the committee's business for the day. So without objection, this meeting is adjourned.